Have you ever experienced a moment so surreal, so heart-stopping, that time seemed to freeze around you? Imagine it's your birthday, a day you usually spend surrounded by laughter, cake, and the warm presence of people you love. But this birthday is unlike any other. This year, instead of joyful celebrations, there's an ache in your heart, because your best friend, your loyal dog who's been missing for weeks, is nowhere to be found. You've searched everywhere, shared every flyer, asked every neighbor, but the silence just won't break. Now, picture this: a mysterious package arrives on your doorstep. No return address, no name, nothing to tell you where it came from. Just a simple, wrapped gift. You're curious but cautious. You open it. Inside, lying there like a ghost from your past, is your missing dog's collar. The one you thought you'd never see again. What would you feel? Shock? Hope? Fear? This is exactly where our story begins, with a chilling mystery wrapped in love and unanswered questions. And trust me, by the time you're done watching this video, you'll be right there with her, unraveling every twist, every secret, and every unexpected turn. I want you to stay with me, because this isn't just a story about a missing pet or a strange birthday gift. It's about something deeper, about the bonds we build, the mysteries that haunt us, and the hope that refuses to die even in the darkest moments. Have you ever lost something so precious it felt like a part of you vanished? Maybe a person, a dream, or even a memory. If so, you already know the kind of heartbreak this girl feels. And that's why this story will resonate with you on a level you didn't expect. It's personal. It's raw. And it's about to take you on a journey that no one saw coming. Now, before we dive any deeper, I want you to promise me you won't click away. There are clues hidden in every detail, emotions woven into every moment. You'll see what happens when hope and mystery collide, and you'll experience the rollercoaster of feelings that only someone who's lost a beloved friend can understand. Whether you're a dog lover, a mystery fanatic, or just someone who believes in the power of connection, this story has something for you. By the end of this video, you'll not only understand what happened to her dog, you'll feel like you were part of the search, part of the discovery, and part of the healing. So who exactly is this girl? She's an ordinary girl with an extraordinary heart. Her name is Emily, a vibrant, kind soul who loves her dog more than anything in the world. Her dog, Max, isn't just a pet, he's her companion, her protector, and her best friend. The kind of friendship that makes the hardest days a little easier and the good days even brighter. When Max went missing, it wasn't just a loss of a dog, it was like a piece of her world disappeared overnight. And that's why the arrival of this mysterious gift on her birthday is so much more than a coincidence, it's a turning point that shakes everything she thought she knew. But who sent the gift? Why now? And what does Max's collar have to do with the weeks of silence, the unanswered calls, and the countless sleepless nights? These questions hang heavy in the air, and they're exactly the questions we're going to explore together. I want you to pay close attention because every little detail might be the key to unlocking the truth. From the handwriting on the package to the way the collar was wrapped, nothing is accidental in this story. It's like someone wants Emily to find this, but why? And what are they trying to tell her? The tension here is palpable, and it's going to pull you deeper and deeper into a mystery that's part thriller, part emotional journey, and 100% unforgettable. As you watch, try to imagine yourself in Emily's shoes, the mixture of hope and fear, the rush of excitement and the cold weight of uncertainty. How would you react if you received something like this? Would you be able to stay calm and think clearly, or would your emotions take over? This story is more than just about a missing dog, it's about the resilience of the human spirit, the lengths we go for love, and the unexpected ways life throws us both heartbreak and hope in the same breath. And I promise, the answers we uncover will surprise you in ways you never imagined. So here's what you need to know going forward: every piece of this puzzle matters. The people Emily trusted, the places she looked, the strangers who suddenly become key players, all of them have a role in this story. You're about to meet characters who might seem ordinary at first but hold secrets that could change everything. And as the story unfolds, you'll see just how quickly things can shift from comforting to creepy, from hopeful to heartbreaking, and from confusing to crystal clear. By the end of this video, you'll have the full story, the truth behind the mysterious birthday gift, the fate of Max, and the shocking revelation that connects it all. I'm going to walk you through every twist and turn, every clue and red herring, so you don't miss a thing. And I want you to think of this not just as a story you watch but as an experience you live through alongside Emily. You'll laugh with her, cry with her, and maybe even uncover something about yourself you didn't know before. But before we reveal what's inside the gift beyond just the collar, there's one last thing you need to understand. This story is a reminder that sometimes, life's biggest mysteries come wrapped in the smallest packages. A simple box, a quiet moment, and suddenly your entire world can change. It's about loss, hope, and the power of believing when everything seems impossible. And right now, as you watch this, that box is waiting for Emily and for you, if you're ready to uncover the truth. So don't go anywhere. Because in just a moment, we're going to open that box together, and you'll see firsthand what happens when the past refuses to stay buried. Are you ready? Because what comes next will blow your mind and pull at your heartstrings like nothing else. The birthday gift with no sender is only the beginning, and the story behind Max's collar is far from over. Stay tuned, the answers are coming, and you won't believe what we find inside. In the days leading up to that unforgettable birthday, Emily's life had been a whirlwind of emotions and desperate searching. Ever since Max went missing 3 weeks earlier, her world felt like it was spinning out of control. The neighborhood, once familiar and comforting, had transformed into a maze of anxiety and unspoken questions. Every corner she turned, every face she passed, she wondered if they had seen him, her loyal companion who had been more than just a dog. He was a part of her family. Her social media feeds were flooded with posts from neighbors, friends, and even strangers offering their prayers and support, but none had led to maximum. The countless "Have you seen this dog?" flyers fluttered in the breeze like silent pleas for help. What made the situation even more heartbreaking was that Max wasn't just a pet that slipped away. The circumstances of his disappearance felt strange, almost like something wasn't adding up. The truth seemed to slip further away with every new revelation, and the lines between friend and foe blurred into a confusing haze. And just when she thought she might have reached a breakthrough, something unexpected happened. A voicemail on her phone, distorted and barely audible, with a whisper that chilled her to the bone. "Look where no one will see." The message ended abruptly, leaving her with nothing but more questions and a growing fear that the answer to Max's disappearance was tied to something far darker than she ever imagined. What does that message mean? Who left it? And why is the truth so dangerous that people are willing to threaten and hide it? Emily's journey is only beginning, and the deeper she digs, the more dangerous the road becomes. Stay with us, because the next part of this story will reveal secrets that could change everything, but only if Emily can survive long enough to uncover them. Just as Emily's mind raced to decipher the cryptic voicemail, the situation took an unexpected and chilling turn that threatened to pull more people into the shadowy web surrounding Max's disappearance. While Emily was grappling with the haunting message, miles away, her younger sister Lucy was going about her day, still consumed with worry over Max, when she, too, received a message that sent a shiver down her spine. It wasn't a text or a call this time, it was a mysterious package left on her doorstep, wrapped with no sender's name, bearing only a note inside that simply said, "You're too close. Walk away before it's too late." The note was unsigned, but the handwriting was eerily familiar, the same scrawl Emily had seen on the package containing Max's collar. This sudden threat to Lucy's safety transformed the entire mystery from a private grief into something dangerously public and personal, making it clear that whatever was going on wasn't just about a lost dog, it was about secrets someone was willing to protect at any cost. With Lucy now caught in the crosshairs, Emily's urgency turned into desperation. She reached out to her circle for support, but that only deepened the confusion. Jake, her boyfriend, who had previously seemed like a reluctant ally with a secret past, now started acting strangely evasive. When Emily confronted him about the messages and threats, he brushed them off as coincidences or overreactions, but the look in his eyes said otherwise. At the same time, Sarah, her once trusted friend, disappeared for days without explanation, and when she finally reappeared, she was defensive and unwilling to share details, her behavior raising more red flags than reassurance. Then there was Rachel, the new neighbor with her questionable history, who seemed to watch Emily's every move with unsettling interest. Suddenly, every relationship felt like a potential betrayal, and every friendly gesture seemed like a calculated ploy. The lines between friend and foe blurred, and Emily began to realize that anyone, even those closest to her, could be hiding motives that would shatter everything she thought she knew. Just when Emily thought she could rely on the clues she had pieced together, a new and contradictory piece of evidence emerged, threatening to upend everything. One of the volunteers from the animal shelter, who had been helping Emily search for Max, came forward with a disturbing report. They claimed to have seen Max on the outskirts of town days after Emily's birthday, in a place that no one had thought to look. But when Emily and Lucy rushed to the location, all they found were vague traces, a broken leash snagged on a bush and fresh paw prints leading into the woods, which disappeared without a trace. This baffling discovery raised uncomfortable questions. Had Max been hiding all along, or was someone deliberately planting evidence to mislead them? And if so, who would go to such lengths to confuse and manipulate them? The stakes suddenly felt higher than ever, and the hope Emily had clung to began to feel dangerously fragile. As tension mounted, a strange pattern started to emerge in the warnings Emily and Lucy were receiving. Each message seemed designed not just to frighten but to send a message about how deep and dangerous the mystery really was. It became clear that this wasn't a random act of cruelty or a simple case of a missing pet. It was part of a larger story, one tied to hidden betrayals and secrets that someone desperately wanted to keep buried. The presence of these ominous messages and contradictory clues forced Emily to question everything, including her own judgment. Were her instincts leading her closer to the truth, or was she falling into a trap set by someone who knew her every move? With every step forward, the danger grew, and the line between ally and enemy blurred into an indistinguishable shadow. And as if the emotional weight of this mystery wasn't enough, a new and unexpected player entered the scene, a private investigator with a reputation for solving impossible cases. He reached out to Emily with an offer of help, claiming he'd been tracking a similar string of pet disappearances connected to an underground network for years. His knowledge and experience were tempting, but his arrival also brought new questions and fears. Was he genuinely there to help, or was he part of the puzzle, another piece of the mystery whose motives were just as suspect? Emily found herself caught between trusting a stranger with dangerous knowledge and protecting her family from even more risk. The stakes had never been higher, and the clock was ticking. As this tangled web of threats, secrets, and suspicious alliances tightened around Emily and Lucy, the truth seemed to slip further away, hidden behind layers of lies and fear. The answers were out there, just beyond reach, but the deeper they dug, the more complicated and perilous the journey became. The question wasn't just if Max would be found, but whether Emily and those she loved would survive long enough to uncover the truth. And with every new revelation, every shadowy message, the chilling reality became clear: some mysteries are dangerous because the people behind them will do anything to keep their secrets hidden. What will Emily discover next, and who will be left standing when the dust settles? Stay close, because the next chapter promises to bring twists you never saw coming. Emily's world, already teetering on the edge of chaos, suddenly spiraled into something far darker and more terrifying than she had ever imagined. One evening, as she was driving home from a late meeting at the animal shelter, a creeping sense of unease settled deep in her chest. The streets were unusually empty, the streetlights flickering in a way that made shadows seem to twist and dance just beyond the edge of her headlights. It wasn't just the darkness or the late hour. Emily felt eyes on her, a presence lurking just out of sight. Every time she glanced in the rearview mirror, the tail lights of a black sedan were there, keeping pace like a ghost, unwilling to let her out of its grasp. She tried to shake the feeling, telling herself it was just her mind playing tricks after weeks of stress and sleepless nights, but the fear was real and growing. Emily's heart tore in two. The love she felt for Jake and Lucy pulled her toward protecting them, but her gut screamed that turning away would only feed the darkness that had stolen Max, shattered her family, and threatened to consume them all. The thought of living in fear, pretending everything was normal, was suffocating. Yet, the alternative, facing down unknown enemies who had already shown they would stop at nothing, felt like stepping into a storm with no shelter. Every instinct warned her to run, but every ounce of courage whispered that the truth was worth fighting for, no matter the cost. The emotional weight of the decision crushed her, the silence between them filled with unsaid fears and fractured trust. Just as Emily wrestled with her conscience, another blow landed hard. Sarah, the friend who had been a source of confusion and fear, appeared unexpectedly, her eyes wild with desperation. She handed Emily a folder thick with documents and photos, proof that someone close to Emily was deeply involved in the trafficking ring, and not just as a bystander. The evidence pointed to a betrayal so personal, so shocking, that Emily could barely breathe. Her world tilted further as she realized that the person implicated was someone she had confided in, someone she had thought would stand by her no matter what. Sarah's warning was clear but terrifying. Exposing the truth could destroy not just the criminals but Emily's closest relationships, and perhaps put her directly in harm's way. She urged Emily to consider what she was willing to sacrifice, to ask herself if she could live with the consequences of uncovering a secret that could fracture her family beyond repair. Torn between love and justice, fear and courage, Emily found herself caught in an emotional maelstrom. Every decision carried devastating risks. To protect the people she cared about might mean burying the truth and allowing the darkness to thrive. To fight for justice could mean losing everything: family, friendship, safety, and maybe even her own life. The shadows closing in felt suffocating, each moment more unbearable than the last, as she realized that some battles aren't just fought in the open, but in the quiet corners of the heart where hope and despair collide. And with the mystery deeper and the dangers closer than ever, Emily's next move would shape not only the fate of Max and Lucy but the very soul of who she was. Emily's world exploded into chaos faster than she could process as the true scale of the conspiracy revealed itself in brutal, unforgiving clarity. What she had initially believed to be a personal nightmare, a missing dog, a vanished sister, a handful of mysterious threats, was just the surface of something far more sinister and sprawling than she ever imagined. The underground ring wasn't a small local operation but a massive network that had infiltrated key parts of their town, wrapped in layers of corruption, greed, and silent complicity. Every face Emily had trusted, every name she had held close, suddenly flickered in the harsh light of suspicion. The shadows had teeth, and they were closing in faster than she could run. The revelation hit hardest when Emily uncovered irrefutable proof that the private investigator she had reluctantly welcomed into her life was not an ally but a wolf in sheep's clothing. He had been feeding information to the very people she feared, manipulating her every step to protect his own hidden agenda. The man who promised to solve the mystery had been steering her into a trap all along, playing a dangerous game with her trust as his currency. Her heart broke under the weight of the betrayal, not just because he had deceived her but because his betrayal meant that the web of danger extended deeper than anyone could have guessed. Suddenly, Emily was not just a desperate sister or a grieving pet owner, she was a pawn in a sprawling, ruthless game where the stakes were life and death. Panic surged through Emily as the evidence stacked up: emails encrypted with code names, photos linking respected town officials to the trafficking ring, and phone records showing clandestine meetings. She realized this was no longer just about her family. The conspiracy implicated people she had seen every day, the police officers she once trusted to protect her, the neighbors who smiled warmly but hid dark secrets, even those who pretended to care about Max and Lucy's disappearance. The people involved had powerful connections, and the network's reach extended far beyond her small town's borders. This was a carefully orchestrated machine fueled by fear and silence, with consequences that rippled through countless lives. Emily's fight had become part of a much larger battle, and there was no room for mistakes. Amid this mounting storm, Emily received a call that shattered any illusion of safety remaining. It was Sarah, breathless and trembling, revealing she had gone into hiding after narrowly escaping an attack meant to silence her. She confessed that she had been working undercover, gathering evidence for months, but her cover was blown because someone close to Emily had betrayed her. The betrayal was so personal and so painful that Emily's head spun with shock and grief. Her own mother, the woman who had held her through childhood storms and wiped away tears, was entangled in the conspiracy. Her mother's desperation, the hidden debts, the quiet threats she had suffered in silence, it all pointed to a complex web of coercion that had drawn her into the shadows, forcing her into choices Emily never imagined. This revelation cracked Emily open, mixing heartbreak with rage, confusion with resolve, as she faced a crushing truth. The enemy was not just out there, it was inside her home. The pressure mounted relentlessly as Emily tried to navigate this fractured world where every ally could be an enemy, and every secret carried deadly consequences. Time was slipping through her fingers like sand, the threat growing more immediate and terrifying by the minute. The people behind the trafficking ring weren't just willing to ruin lives, they were prepared to destroy anyone who stood in their way. Emily's every move was being watched, every call potentially intercepted, every shadow a possible threat. The line between hunter and hunted blurred, and the stakes could not have been higher. She was forced to make choices that tore at her soul, whether to expose the conspiracy and risk losing everyone she loved or to stay silent and watch the darkness consume more lives. In the heart-pounding climax of this nightmare, Emily realized there was no turning back. The fight for truth, for Max, for Lucy, and for her family had become a desperate battle against an enemy whose reach was vast and whose cruelty knew no limits. The only way forward was through the storm, but as the walls closed in and the danger surged around her, one chilling question lingered. Could she survive long enough to bring the truth to light, or would the shadows finally swallow her whole? The night air was thick with tension as Emily found herself standing in the cold, dimly lit warehouse on the outskirts of town, the place where all the threads of this tangled nightmare converged, where answers waited but not without a price. Jake's voice was low but urgent as he confessed the truth she'd long suspected. He had been working undercover to dismantle the trafficking ring from the inside, a dangerous game he'd kept hidden to protect Emily and Lucy. The betrayal, the lies, they had all been part of a fragile strategy, but the situation had spiraled beyond control. Just as he finished, a sharp noise sliced through the silence, the unmistakable click of a gun being cocked. From the shadows stepped the real mastermind, a respected community figure whose friendly smile masked a calculating mind and ruthless ambition. The man who had manipulated everything, controlled the web of lies, and threatened the lives of everyone Emily loved now revealed himself, smug and unrepentant. He taunted Emily, confident in his power, unaware that she had one final move left. The warehouse erupted into chaos as Emily's desperate instincts kicked in. She lunged for the hidden cell phone she'd slipped into her pocket moments before, broadcasting a live video to the authorities and her online followers, a bold move fueled by the thousands of people who had followed her story, prayed for answers, and demanded justice. The villain's calm cracked as the reality of exposure dawned on him, his grip on power slipping. In the tension-filled standoff, Emily and Jake fought not just for their lives but for the truth, exposing a network that stretched far beyond what anyone had imagined. The betrayal, the danger, the years of silence all exploded in a cathartic release as the police sirens wailed closer, drawing a line under the nightmare. But just when it seemed the nightmare was over, Emily's heart sank as a final, devastating twist revealed itself. Hidden within the villain's frantic attempts to escape was a small package he dropped. Inside was the collar she had thought lost forever, along with a note in Lucy's handwriting. The note wasn't a cry for help but a confession. Lucy hadn't been kidnapped at all. She had chosen to disappear, sacrificing her safety and family to protect Emily from a secret too dangerous to share. The truth was more painful than Emily could have imagined. Lucy had known about the conspiracy from the start and had deliberately stayed silent to buy time, to keep Emily safe even as it tore her apart. The warehouse fell silent except for Emily's ragged breaths as she processed the revelation. Every shadow seemed to breathe, every creak in the floorboards a whispered warning. Her heart pounded as she clutched the crumpled envelope Lucy had left behind, the final clue pointing her here, to the heart of the conspiracy. The sound of footsteps echoed, slow and deliberate, and Emily's breath caught as a figure emerged from the darkness. Jake, the man she had loved and doubted in equal measure, now standing with a grim expression that held more secrets than words ever could. This confrontation wasn't just about betrayal or secrets anymore, it was about survival, trust, and the unyielding fight to bring a ruthless network to its knees. The fight for justice was far from over, but the price of truth had never felt so personal, so heavy. As police officers swarmed the scene and the villain was taken into custody, Emily realized this story wasn't just about finding a missing dog or a lost sister, it was about uncovering the darkness hidden beneath the surface of their town, about confronting impossible choices, and about the fierce power of love and courage in the face of overwhelming odds. And even as the dust settled, one question lingered in the air: where was Lucy now, and would Emily ever be ready for the truth she had chosen to protect? In the quiet days that followed the storm, Emily found herself standing at the edge of a world forever changed. The once familiar streets of her town seemed different now, tainted by the knowledge of shadows lurking just beneath the surface, yet also touched by the fragile light of hard-won truth. The conspiracy that had upended her life had been exposed, the traffickers arrested, and the community forced to reckon with the betrayals hidden in plain sight. The collar that had arrived mysteriously with no sender had become the symbol of a journey through fear, love, and relentless determination. Though Max was still missing, and Lucy's whereabouts remained unknown, Emily felt the weight of the past begin to lift, replaced by a cautious hope that healing might one day come. The conversations she had with those around her were filled with a bittersweet mixture of relief and sorrow. Jake, once shrouded in doubt, became an ally whose sacrifices she now understood more deeply, though the scars of betrayal would take time to fade. Sarah, whose bravery had cost her dearly, slowly re-entered the light, a reminder that even in the darkest places, courage could shine. And Emily herself had changed, no longer just a girl searching for answers, but a woman shaped by loss and resilience, carrying the fierce fire of truth that refused to be extinguished. Yet, as she looked at the collar in her hand, a tangible link to the sister who had vanished not out of captivity but choice, she understood that some mysteries would linger, wrapped in silence and sacrifice. The community's response was a complex one, a mixture of gratitude for the revelations and a painful reckoning with the roles many had unknowingly played. The investigation had unveiled uncomfortable truths about trust and betrayal, reminding everyone that evil often wears a familiar face and that silence can be a powerful accomplice. Emily's story, shared through countless online videos and heartfelt conversations, became more than a search for a missing dog or sister. It evolved into a call to vigilance, empathy, and action. Viewers from across the country connected with her journey, finding in it a reflection of their own struggles against unseen dangers and the quiet battles fought every day to protect what matters most. Yet, just as the community began to breathe a tentative sigh of relief, Emily couldn't shake the feeling that the story was not yet over. The note from Lucy hinted at truths still buried, at sacrifices made in the shadows to shield others from harm. And somewhere deep inside, Emily knew that finding Lucy was not just about closure, it was about understanding the depths of courage it takes to face a world filled with both darkness and light. The question lingered in her heart and the minds of those who followed her journey. Would Lucy ever be ready to return, and if she did, what stories would she bring with her? The answers remained out there, waiting in the quiet spaces between hope and fear. As the sun set on this chapter of Emily's life, she stood with the collar in her hand and the weight of the unknown pressing gently against her soul. The search had changed her forever, teaching her that sometimes the greatest gifts are not found in answers but in the courage to keep asking the questions. And while some wounds might never fully heal, the promise of truth, love, and resilience offered a path forward, one that invited everyone watching to hold on to hope, even when the darkness seemed endless. The mystery was far from over, but Emily was ready to face whatever came next, knowing that her story was not just hers alone, but a beacon for anyone who had ever felt lost in the shadows. You think it's all pretty normal: school apps, textbooks, some games, maybe a few notes. But then, out of nowhere, you stumble upon something completely unexpected: a hidden folder. Not just any folder, but one no one ever told you about. You tap on it, heart pounding a little, and suddenly the screen fills with files that don't belong to a normal school device. What you see inside is so shocking, so mysterious, it pulls you into something way bigger than just a classroom. And here's where the real story begins. This is the story of a teen who found a secret that wasn't meant to be found, something so intense that it caught the attention of the police and changed everything for everyone involved. Now, I want you to pause and think about this for a second. How many times have you looked at your phone, your tablet, or your laptop and wondered if there was more going on beneath the surface? How many times did you wish you could uncover a secret that nobody else knew about? What if I told you this wasn't just a story, but a real-life mystery, one with twists and turns so wild, they could make your head spin? That's exactly why you clicked on this video. You're here because you want to know the truth, because you're curious about what happened when this teen discovered something no one was prepared for. And I promise, by the end of this video, you'll have answers to questions you didn't even think to ask. You're going to see how a seemingly innocent device became the center of a shocking investigation, how one person's discovery led to uncovering secrets that had been hidden in plain sight. What's crazy about this story is not just what was found, but who was involved and how far it went. There's the teen, curious and a little scared, but determined to understand what they stumbled on. Then there's the school administration, who suddenly had to answer some very tough questions. And of course, The police, who got pulled in as the contents of that folder revealed things no one expected. It's a story that touches on trust, privacy, technology, and the power of curiosity. Maybe you've felt that mix of excitement and fear when you stumble across something you shouldn't. Maybe you know what it's like to be caught between wanting to dig deeper and worrying about the consequences. That's the feeling this story captures, and it's why it's so important to follow every part of it closely. Throughout this video, I'll walk you through everything from that first moment of discovery to the tense conversations behind closed doors and the investigation that followed. But I won't just tell you what happened, I want you to feel it, to see it from the inside out. Because this isn't just about a folder or an iPad, it's about real people, real choices, and a mystery that could be happening right under your nose. And trust me, the deeper we go, the more complicated and more dangerous it gets. You might be surprised by who's involved, by what's at stake, and how the story ends. But I'm going to keep some of that for later, because you deserve the full picture, and there are moments coming that will make you rethink everything you thought you knew. By now, you're probably wondering exactly what was in that hidden folder. Was it photos? Messages? Something illegal? Something that could put someone's life at risk? The answer is yes, and no, it's not that simple. The contents are more than just files, they're clues, pieces of a puzzle that, when put together, reveal a story far more troubling than anyone expected. This is why the police got involved, why school officials were alarmed, and why this teen suddenly found themselves at the center of a whirlwind. And as you watch, I want you to keep asking yourself, what would I do if I were in their shoes? Would I be brave enough to speak up? Would I keep digging, even if it meant danger? This story isn't just about what was found, it's about the choices we make when faced with the unknown. Before we dive deeper, let me introduce you to some of the key players without giving away too much just yet. There's the teen, a smart, determined young person who noticed something odd and didn't just scroll past it. There's the school tech team, responsible for the devices but clearly hiding more than they let on. And then the authorities, who bring a level of seriousness that changes the whole game. This trio, along with a few others you'll meet along the way, are part of a story that's about trust, secrets, and the blurry lines between right and wrong. It's the kind of story that makes you question how much you really know about the people and systems around you. Right now, the atmosphere is tense. This isn't just another kid finds something story. This is a real mystery with real consequences, and it's happening in a place where you'd least expect it, your own school. The stakes are high, and every moment counts. And as we move forward, I want you to feel that tension too, because it's what keeps the story alive. It's what makes you want to know what's next, to understand how everything will unravel. So stick with me, because what I'm about to show you will challenge what you think you know about safety, technology, and the people we trust every day. But here's the thing, I can't tell you everything just yet. The most shocking part, the twist that turned this discovery into a full-blown police case, is just around the corner. You'll have to stay tuned to see how this hidden folder opened a door to something no one was ready for. So, before we jump into the details and the drama that followed, I want to ask you one last thing. Are you ready to uncover the truth? Because what happens next will change everything you thought was normal about your school, your iPad, and maybe even your community. Stay with me, and I promise you won't want to miss a single second. The answer is coming, and it's nothing like you expect. As we peel back the layers of this story, it's important to understand the world our main character was living in just before everything changed. The teen, let's call them Alex, wasn't some random kid lost in the crowd. Alex was popular enough, involved in a few clubs, had a close circle of friends, but not the kind of spotlight that brings constant attention. What made Alex different was a sharp curiosity, a habit of asking questions that sometimes made teachers and classmates raise eyebrows. In the weeks leading up to the discovery of that hidden folder, Alex had been juggling the usual school stress, big tests, group projects, and trying to keep up with friends while navigating the pressure to figure out what to do after graduation. But beneath the surface, something else was stirring. There were whispers around school, rumors of some strange behavior by certain staff members, talks about surveillance cameras being installed in odd places, and a growing tension that nobody seemed to want to talk about openly. Alex's relationships also provide important clues.